with a Tory conference this week talking about things that frankly are not on the agenda of most people living ordinary lives in Britain. It's almost as if politics is bypassing the people. There is a completely massive disconnect. Well, that's certainly my feeling. Now, one of the speeches today that really mattered was from Sajid Javid, the Health Secretary. As I've said earlier, not just as health dominated our national debate with COVID-19, and how interesting to see a variety of news reports today coming from right across the political spectrum saying that the number of test kits, of PCR kits that were ordered in Wuhan several months before we were told about the outbreak do indicate that maybe, just maybe, my friend Donald was right to call it the China virus. But we appear to be through the worst of that, thank goodness. But now we face a very different kind of health crisis. I found it astonishing overnight that when asked by The Guardian whether or not Sajid Javid would encourage people stuck on lengthy waiting lists to go private, he said this: no. That's always a choice for people that can afford it, but that's up to them. But it's not certainly something I would be recommending to anyone. He added, I don't want a situation where too many more people just stop because I want them to use the NHS. The NHS can manage it. Now, that really, honestly, is what he said overnight to The Guardian. Keep that at the front of your mind, because this is what he also told the Tory party conference in Manchester just a few hours ago. And let's see if we can put the two together and whether it makes any sense.
When I came in, I said I was not just the COVID secretary, I'm the Health and Social Care Secretary. There was no doubt about the biggest item that was spilling out of my in-tray, an NHS waiting list that will get worse before it gets better, that was projected to grow as high as 13 million. No government, no health secretary, no society can accept that. That's why we have prioritised elective recovery. Checkups, scans, surgeries, with the biggest catch-up fund in the history of the NHS.
So if you're in your 80s and you're waiting for a hip replacement or a knee replacement and it's a 2-year waiting list, the Health Secretary says don't opt out and use the private sector because the NHS can cope. Just wait for another couple of years. And it strikes me that is completely and utterly the wrong way around. And once again, a government out of touch with reality. Yes, of course, not everyone can afford to get knee replacements, hip replacements paid for by themselves, going through the private sector. But surely, Sajid Javid, surely you've got this the wrong way round. Surely you should say, given the record level of backlogs in the National Health Service, given the pressure that the whole system is under, that actually, what I would say if I was Health Secretary is I encourage as many of you as who can afford to go privately to do so, to relieve the burden on the NHS so that we can seriously try to get this waiting list down. That, to me, would be the common sense approach. And actually, that is what people increasingly themselves are voting for with their wallets. I think he's hopelessly out of touch. Well,